I remembered that I had worked with a mask, the Claudia mask, and I remembered that when I worked with that class that it was a preteen character and that her parents were divorced. And I thought that that would be a good way to approach just starting to write. The first time I presented the work, I was part of a Theatre Columbus event called Mayhem, where they were featuring works in progress. And I did an improvisation for 10 minutes. I went on stage and I set an egg timer for 10 minutes and I put on the mask and I improvised for 10 minutes. And at that time, a couple of the artistic directors from the Tarragon Theatre, Andy McKim and Urjo Kurita, who's since passed away, came to see the evening, and they invited me to develop further with the assistance of the Tarragon. I'd been acting in the theatre for about 10 years at the time that I started writing the play, and I really wanted to create a piece of my own work.
This whole thing started, I think, in the year 2000, when I was working at the Tarragon Theatre.
He was the first person I showed the material to, and I was so humiliated to share it.
She wanted me to come and take a look because she was panicked and thought it was terrible, and she was going to embarrass herself, so she just wanted some kind of confirmation that it wasn't as brutal as she thought it was.
It was the first time I'd ever written anything, and it felt so personal, and it felt like such a huge risk to go, from acting to actually creating something and speaking, from myself publicly.
And I went in and I saw her do about 10 minutes of Claudia, and I was sort of like laughing inwardly the whole time because it was, even at its early stage, a really remarkable feat of performance.
He said, stick with the improvisation, stick with that energy. That's where the energy is. And even though it doesn't make sense, just be patient with it and keep working and sifting through the material you have.
She'd take a mask, put it on her face, stand in front of a mirror, and improvise for about 40 minutes with the tape recorder on.
I improvised until I had about 150 pages of densely packed text for all of the characters to speak. And then I started the process of editing. And I went in on those 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper from about 150 pages to about 23 pages.
We developed more the physical life of the characters, started to explore the text, which was already very far along. We began to consider some design things, music, things like that.
Then I also had a really hard time figuring out, well, what's the theatrical idea here? What's the idea that gets this, from being a story about divorce? What is it? What puts it onto the stage? What makes it an interesting story to watch? And in the process of kind of thinking about that, I remembered that at the National Theatre School where I trained, that we had worked with masks in our second year.